from the get-go, Ripple has worked with regulators, and we have worked with regulated institutions like banks where there isn't regulatory uncertainty. And so we have found that part of the reason why XRP has performed well is because people realize, hey, wait a minute, back to your question, is XRP the next Bitcoin? Back to your question, is XRP the next Bitcoin? If we work with the system to solve this problem, and we can solve that problem at scale, a problem measured in the trillions of dollars, then there's a lot of opportunity to create value in XRP.
It has clearly been a good thing for Swift. I think that I do think what has happened at GPI is a big step forward. For 40 plus years, we had a construct around how cross-border correspondent banking worked. It worked, but it had a lot of limitations. We're seeing that move forward. But I think it's a step forward when you're switching from kind of, if I may, horse and buggy to, hey, can we make the horse and buggy go faster? Sure, but if we can actually just move to a Ferrari, let's do that.
So you've said before that you think there's a world where Ripple could take over Swift.
Well, I've also said I thought there was ways we could work with Swift.
I'd like you to address some of the rumors circling around. I mean, there are indications that perhaps your biggest rival, Swift, will be joining you. Could you shed some light?
Well, look, Swift is owned by the banks, and we are here to help the banks. We feel like blockchain technologies are a massive step function forward in terms of how correspondent banking has historically worked. The technologies that banks use today that Swift developed decades ago really hasn't evolved and kind of kept up with the market. And so we feel like we're here to help the banks. Swift is owned by the banks. There have been opportunities where maybe there's partnership opportunities. We haven't been able to bring those to fruition. But we're going to keep focusing on solving the customer problem. Swift said not that long ago they didn't see blockchain as a solution to correspondent banking. We've got well over 100 of their customers saying that they disagree.
So strictly internet rumors, yes? Just to clarify.
Rumors. There's lots of rumors, and I'm hesitant to comment on any rumor because if you comment on the false rumors, then you have to comment on the true rumors, and so you just avoid all of them.
Is there a possibility that Ripple could take over Swift one day?
Well, I think what we're doing and executing on a day-by-day basis is, in fact, taking over Swift. In that, we've now signed up, well over 100 banks. Some of the largest Swift-enabled banks in the world are now using Ripple's technology.
I think there have been a number of different people we've hired over a period of time. One of the former board members of Swift, a gentleman, Marcus Treacher, joined our team to run all of customer success. And, this was, a former board member from Swift coming over and saying, hey, we don't think Swift's going to be necessarily a solution to really unlocking this Internet of Value. These are, marks along the journey.
Swift is the preeminent messaging system for the financial industry, which covers, say, payments, FX, trade, in terms of securities, etc., nostra reconciliations, etc. What we're looking with the crypto, though, is where Swift would have a store and forward system for most of its payment transactions, where you need service level agreements that in a certain time I will do something if a payment turns up at a certain time during the day. Here we're looking at the new network styles which allow instant, real-time movement of the funds and visibility of those funds as well. So we would not have a situation where banks need to come back to you and say, have my funds arrived? It's 3 days later. I need to find out or find query messages moving around the network. There's nothing like that. I don't believe Ripple is going to replace Swift. Ripple is one of the complementary networks which is going to allow those institutions who need real time to make use of that. And I think we're also seeing that Swift are changing their network capability so that real time will be a possibility as well. But we may also see Ripple XRP moving across the Swift network as a currency when we're perhaps using something like FX.
It's just the worst system to use. And the thing is, it charges banks and fund managers and corporates and anyone else that's got a lot of money huge transaction fees. But it's not just that. It's basically the process of settlement. It cannot do instant settlement. And, a lot of people don't seem to understand that Ripple can actually do instant settlement in volume.
Wow.
And straight away with any currency, not just currency. Mm-hmm. They could do it with any sort of, asset, whether it be property, whether it be collectibles. any sort of asset. And, no other cryptocurrency can do that. I mean, it's not just that. I mean, they had the capability of, going into competition with Ethereum.
Your face or no? Yeah. Hi, we're here at CBOS, and this gentleman is taking his time to answer a couple questions about blockchain and if it's going to be implemented in the banking system. So can you let us know how Swift is going to use blockchain for sending money?
I'm not sure how Swift going to do it, but for sure they will. It's on its way, and we are doing trials on it.
Very good. And do you know about on-demand liquidity and DLT?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know about a company called Ripple, and are they being used?
Ripple, yes, of course we do.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Do you know about bills of lading going to bills of e-lading in the UK?
No, we are not involved on that.
Okay, but do you know about it? Being
Yes.
used on the blockchain?
Yes.
Trading is going to be on the blockchain?
We had listened about it, but we are not involved in it
Right.
at the moment.
Are you connected with Ripple in any way? A partner with Ripple?
Not yet.
Not yet. That's a very good answer. All right, I really appreciate your time. And can I ask your name? And
Arthur Pereira from T-Eagle Technologies.
nice. And are you here from Portugal?
Portugal.
Wow. Well, thank you for coming to Canada, and have a wonderful trip back home.
Okay.
I'm 54 years old, live in Los Angeles, California. I've been a tech executive for 30 years. I started with IBM, and I've worked for Accenture for quite some time. At the time that I was heavily investing in XRP, actually, and I've also worked for FIS. Some of you know, one of the largest payments provider. I no longer work at FIS. I'm building a tech startup right now, which I'll remain nameless at this point. So a lot of background in payments, but one of the things that Bob and I talked about some time ago when I was at Accenture, one of the things, I'm no longer on NDAs, but the one thing that I was able to do is Accenture, just like everyone else, has a Salesforce.com, which is a CRM, customer relationship management software. And I was, as an investor, was able to go into and look at, and this is a time where everybody was doubting, Ripple's not working with that many banks. And that's the time Brad Garlinghouse was saying, we're bringing on 2 new banks a week. And I could look in Salesforce.com because you wonder, how does a small startup like Ripple, who only has, at the time, 50 to 100 employees, how are they integrating these banks? Because that's a big project, 3 months, 6 months, a year. And the reason why they were getting them on so quickly is Accenture and IBM are the 2 largest tech integrators in the world. The Global 2000 use them for implementing any of the latest, greatest softwares. And so Accenture was a partner of Ripple, and I looked in our Salesforce.com, and I could see all 300 banks that Accenture had integrated for Ripple. Now, and I was pleasantly surprised at that. And we're talking big names. This was Bank of Australia, Bank of England, Bank of Canada, so on and so on. And so they're all primed, and they've been primed and ready to go since this was 2000, Bob, that was about 2016 I shared with you.
Yeah, I think it was 2017, 2018.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Minimum.
And I could see them all. They were all, and that means they're all primed and ready to go. So you've heard Mr. Schwartz talk about the flywheel effect. You've got to have liquidity on both sides for this thing to work. And so, while I can't speak to a flip the switch moment, I'm not an insider. I won't claim to be, but I can just see what's happening. That there is a moment where something happens where they all start using it. And Bob.
So technically, like a flip of the switch moment.
And who's in control of that to say go? Your guess is as good as mine. But that could be the IMFs of the world, the BIS, all that. But so that that's all just Bob and I talked about. Bob, is that what you were hoping to hear from me?
Yeah, just because I remember like the last time we spoke, you just jumped on the space and you were like, "Hi guys, my name's Tony. This and that," and you just basically said like, "I do believe in a flip of the switch moment," and you weren't necessarily alluding to like, "I know for a fact." Right. But you were saying like, I could see why something like this would like happen all at once, sort of thing.
I definitely could. So I'm on board with that theory as a plausible scenario.
If I hold XRP, because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto. Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's High-Level Advisory Board on FinTech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're